Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. We are going to do some puzzle solving today because no day should pass without puzzle solving if you have got any ambitions in chess. Tactics is the key to success, and this should be practiced on a daily basis. My first puzzle that I'm showing you is already on the board, and not long ago, in fact approximately 50 minutes ago, I shared it with a student of mine, and we bumped into a problem that I keep on talking about all the time, and I can't repeat myself enough times so that I could feel that I have done my job well enough. Anytime you start to solve a puzzle, you must start with checks, captures, and threats, which I could call with some inappropriate or incorrect language the Holy Trinity, somewhat blasphemously. I think that's the word I was after. So these are the three things you need to do, and in this particular order: checks, then captures, and then threats. So the first thing you notice in this position is that if the knight wasn't on d5, then you would have queen g8 followed by knight f7, beautiful smothered mate. And then you look at the knight moves and you realize that none of them are checks. And so you don't start solving the puzzle with something like knight takes c7, which looks very appealing and tempting, because if anything were to take it, then queen g8 followed by knight f7 is an awesome mate. But this is not a check, and consequently, and that's the reason why we don't do it that way, it's not a forcing enough move. You need to look at checks. And because we are fixated on the idea of the smothered mate, we start with queen g8 check, because after rook f7 we already have a mate set. So the only thing we need to cover is what happens if the king takes it. But then we realize that the king's... Ooh, not quite. The king sets himself up for a double check on that diagonal. And indeed, after knight e7 check, king f8, we have got the beautiful finish knight g6 check, pawn takes, and knight takes g6 checkmate. As simple as that. Every single move on this puzzle is a check. And as such, it's a very easy puzzle to solve. And I know that probably some of you, many of you, I don't know, would say that no way, Jose, this was not an easy puzzle. It was ridiculously hard. But then I would have to rephrase it to super logical, because every single move in this solution was a brutally forcing check. Check. Rook can't take because mate on f7. King takes, double check. Now the king can't go to the corner because mate, so the king has to come here, check, nearly mate, and check, and that is mate. So once again, going back to my original point, it may appear to you difficult at first sight, but using my method, by no means is it mine by the way, you can solve it fast. So once again, let's just throw in the kitchen and the sink and just follow what I tell you to do. Check. Knight takes back, epic fail. Check. Pawn takes. We have no checks. I try queen f6 with a mate in one thread here. Oh wow, it works. So after knight check, they can't take because I have got queen f6, queen g7 mate unstoppable, so they go here. Now I try check. King takes. Doesn't feel right. Knight takes, rook takes, queen takes, threatening mate in one, but rook g8 covers it up. Doesn't feel right. So I eliminated all the sensible checks and captures. Threats, when it comes to threats, we have got two threats that we really like to do. One of them, number one, create a mate in one thread. Number two, attack your opponent's queen, because once again, these are the most forcing ones. This is a mate in one thread, and as luck would have it, it's the winning one. If they take, its mate, and the only way to stop it is to come here, which allows another mate. Beautiful stuff. Of course, it appears to be easy and smooth and fine when I do it, and when it appears in front of you on the board, it's a lot harder, partly because you don't know that what's in front of you is actually a puzzle. Now, what are the clues that you need to look for when you're looking for the deadly strike? Well, the clues are a fully developed army, very good central control, weaknesses in your opponent's camp, potentially a king stuck in the middle, or if it's castled, it's not protected well enough, underdeveloped army on the opponent's side. And the hardest one to spot actually is a somewhat developed or somewhat okay looking position where the pieces are not in harmony. They don't cooperate despite the fact that they are out. To identify that is a bit tricky. Now in this position, everything is screaming for a violent solution, because white has got a fully completed development, except for the rook here. Everybody is ready to strike, and the black pieces are in a very clumsy way. The bishop is undeveloped, and the knight is really not doing its job here either, other than the fact that it stops a mate in 1. The rook on b7 is a sad customer. It is just a mess. And so, as per always, we look for checkmates by check, capture, and threat. And immediately we notice that if we were to take the queen and pawn takes back, bishop h5 is almost mate. This g6 is the only pain in the backside move that we can't really deal with at the moment. So we can't just do that. So we look for further checks. Knight check here, bishop takes doesn't seem to do anything at all. Knight check here looks quite interesting because knight takes is met by mate. The queen actually can't take it because of the pin, so the pawn is forced to take it, and then we realize that thereby we actually managed to decoy the pawn from g7 to f6, which means it can no longer block that check that I showed you before, and so consequently we have got a beautiful mate at our hands. Fantastic finish. All right, this is an okay puzzle, but it doesn't have a forced mate, it's just a forced win. So the unusual motive here is what we need to see is that after knight g6 check, king here, knight e5 check. Now, although I do have ways to block this check on e4, it will cost me at least a piece on d7 and on occasion even a rook there. So the idea that this puzzle is trying to show you is that after king h8, if we go knight f7 check, king g8, then despite of the fact that there is nothing on h7, we still can deliver a beautiful smothered mate due to the fact that the bishop is covering h7. So the way how we do it is check, king here, check, and whatever takes us on g8, we have got knight f7 mate, and that covers it. All right, lucky last. Oh yeah, this is a stunner. Okay, so what stands out with this position as soon as we look at it is the fact that if the queen was not on f5 in the vicinity of the f6 square, we would have this beautiful mate. So it's all about trying to decoy my queen and my attention by my gorgeous wife.
Sorry.
From f5. And once again, our method of doing this is check, 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 check. So we chuck in a check here. Only purpose of that is to open up the queen's diagonal towards the king. The rook takes it. Queen g4 check. Once again, the only purpose is to decoy the queen. Doesn't matter whether it takes or blocks. Knight f6 checkmate concludes the attack. A beautiful, beautiful attack. Once again, based on pure logic. And once again, were the signs there? Yes, they were. King is in a super awkward position, very much unprotected. We already have a set mate. Our army is beautifully developed. The black pieces are all over the shop, with the exception of this very annoying protected pass pawn on d3. So we immediately look for violence, and that was the way to go. Take, check, check, and checkmate. This is how easy it is, and this is how difficult it is at the same time. Whichever applies to you, you still need to work on these puzzles to make sure that you get better and better and better. Like I do them all the time still, even though I don't really have any chess ambitions left at all, but just to keep my mind fresh. And actually they are awesome fun. I mean, imagine solving puzzles like this. If that you don't enjoy, then what do you enjoy really in chess? Alrighty guys, that's gonna cover it for now, and I'll be back with more soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.